Lunar Light Entertainment proudly presents the 100-Day Magical Challenge. All right, greetings and salutations, everyone. Frank Monday coming at you, straight out the Central Kingdom of the Celestial Dragon, Twilight Zone OP King. Welcome, Wizard, Warrior, Wanderer, Wayfarer, and Wildcat alike. Today, I'm bringing on Thomas Sund, my professional hypnotherapist friend, and we're going to talk a little bit about the run-up to the 100-Day Magical Challenge. I would remind everyone to please have a look at the Lunar Light Entertainment Discord. You can just go to the About section of my page and click on that, and that will give you access to the Discord. The other thing I want to remind everyone is that with Pathways of the Magician, we're going to have additional material over at www.buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. In addition to that, some of the material will be mirrored on Tomas's coffee page as well, which is buymeacoffee.com/GeniUS. So it's genius, but it's spelled a little bit funny. You can see it down there below. It's GENIYOUS. So definitely check out Tomas's coffee page. And with no further ado, we're just going to have a little conversation, me and Thomas, about what's been going on with the run-up to the 100-Day Challenge. Are you getting excited about the 100-Day Challenge, Thomas?
Very, very much so. There are so many aspects of it, and I'm looking forward to, for example, the idea of keeping a 20 days at a time, roughly. No, we're doing 2 weeks, roughly, at a time, and just looking at your dreams, following goals. It's going to be focused work, you know, and at the same time, some very, very good magical practices, which I'm looking forward to. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one too, and I'm really super happy to have you on board, because on the last one, Hypnoapotheosis, you know, we had the opportunity to collaborate on a few videos, and then you did some really great pathworking videos that truly support spiritual growth and cultivation.
There's a lot to talk about, including the tarot cards as well, which we're going to look into, the symbolism and dealing with Pentacle, which is Earth, of course. Now, for those of you who are thinking about tarot as something mystical, I guess it's as mystical as you want it to be. There is some symbolism in here based on the Golden Dawn tradition, of course, if you have one of these cards. There are other tarot decks as well. But throughout the first part of this challenge, it's going to be Earth, and we're going to look at, see if we can get a good picture of that. The Ace of Pentacles, that's the first day, of course. Then moving on to the Two of Pentacles, and so on and so forth. The pictures are available online, so if you don't have a tarot deck handy, you can just look at that. It's a little bit of a contemplation, and contemplations, guided meditations, and similar recordings is what I'm going to be providing during this 100-Day Challenge. And I am looking forward to sharing some of these ideas with you, because I am the guinea pig, so to speak, for Frater Francis' leading guidance. And at the same time, since I was thinking, we talked about this earlier, I just want to outline it for those who haven't followed it, is that during each part of the challenge, we're talking about earth, air, water, and fire. There'll be a focus of a goal, maybe several goals, but in order to sort of lead by example, in a sense, or modeling what you can do with this challenge, I'm going to be sharing the one goal that I'm working on at a time. Now, the earth element is the physical world, right? So that means material wealth, money, physical health, to some extent your everything you own, your property, and at the same time social interactions, as long as they are not based on love, or that's another one, or business. Maybe business, yeah. So there's a lot of things happening here. Frank, why don't you lead on? Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely, Thomas. There really is a lot of moving parts. One thing I do recommend is that folks do find themselves a decent journal, something that is
Yeah.
aesthetically pleasing and a little more like above the average type journal. Normally, for my magical journals, like I will just use super cheap notebook bound things, like these, these are just a dollar or something a piece, and then I'll decorate them and date them. But it's because I do a lot more rough work in them. But I found that for the dream journal, the actual recording of keywords, I like to have something that's a little bit nicer. And the reason is it creates sort of a mnemonic link or anchor to actually setting it down beside your bed. You have something beautiful, something that has some tactile sensation. And I found just in my own personal practice that it seems to work better. Like I'm more likely to jump up and flip open and jot down a few keywords into something that's a little nicer. Additionally, it'll last me a lot longer because I'm only writing a very little bit in each one. I use it for the anchors, for the keywords. And so that's one suggestion I make. Take your dream journaling a little more serious and get something that's maybe a little nicer than you might usually buy.
Yeah. Very nice, very nice. Can I add something here as well in terms of dream journaling? And this is going out not to you, Frank, but to everyone else who are following this challenge, and that is that I truly recommend that if you have the opportunity to leave your phone outside your bedroom, or if you have an alarm on your phone, like most of us do, then don't reach for the phone. Like have a soft alarm that wakes you up, but don't reach for the phone, because as soon as you reach for your phone and you have that bright light in your face, in your eyes, and then you have to process information visually in order to turn the alarm off or snooze, whatever you choose to do. And it's very, very easy to just lose connection with where you're coming from. So we are going to be drawing some inspiration from our dreams, and it's a very, very old tradition. I think it's been since the dawn of humanity. We've been dreaming about something, and for those of us who listen to or pay attention to our dreams, there's a lot to learn. So that's what I wanted to say. Maybe a little bit of what we call sleep hygiene, in the sense of leaving your phone or the bright lights outside of your bedroom if you can, and then have a dream journal with a pen next to your bed, so that waking up, you can start writing. For those of you who, from a personal experience, I also want to share this. For those of you who say that, well, I don't know, I don't remember my dreams. Before the age of 30, I'm 46 now, right? Before the age of 30, I could swear that I only ever could remember about 3 dreams throughout my life. I was not one of those people who would remember dreams. But I was inspired by Robert Moss's book, Conscious Dreaming, which I think is an excellent book. And he talked about dream journal. So about 15 years ago, when I started using a dream journal, I started remembering my dreams. It's a little bit of a practice of holding on to this other state in your brain. We have other brain waves that are going on, and it is a subconscious state. But in subconscious work, you may be able to bridge that gap or to stand with both feet across the threshold for a while before it fades. So have some faith in the process, have a dream journal, and don't interrupt those precious few moments after you wake up with a phone or, I have to run out or something like that. Just stay where you are, think through, sort of reflect on what you were dreaming, and write down. If you don't remember the first day, maybe you'll remember, after a week or so. Just a little bit of constant practice, and you'll get there. I'm fairly certain that it's available to all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Good advice, Thomas. definitely want to try to integrate that as well. Sometimes I do leave the phone nearby. One thing I do suggest in addition to that is just, tell yourself as you're going into sleep to wake up before your alarm goes off. You'd be surprised how responsive and suggestible the mind is. I mean, you wouldn't be necessarily, but people out there might be surprised that if you just tell yourself, hey, I set my alarm for 6 or 7 a.m. or whatever, but then as you lay down to go to sleep at night, say, hey, tell yourself, wake up before the alarm goes off, and you'll get in the habit of doing that. Like, I've been waking up at the same time for years and years, decades, and I almost always wake up before the alarm. But yeah, it can be very helpful to avoid the phone.
That is, in my view, that is a combination of two things. You have your biology supports you to do that, because this is something we call the circadian rhythm. There's all kinds of processes happening in the brain, in the body, throughout the day. I mean, your blood pressure, your temperature, body temperature, there's a certain hormones that are available as well to you, and they are flooding your brain when you're falling asleep. And you have the melatonin, of course, and you have a bit of adrenaline coming in the morning. There's a lot of things that are happening. So if you have a regularity in your sleeping pattern, it's actually not difficult at all to wake up with a bit of a pep in your step and actually waking up before your alarm. But that also requires that you go to bed somewhat regularly. And that's not easy for everybody, but if you can make it, turn off the TV, turn off your phone, or at least put them aside an hour before the time you want to go to bed. And I don't know what your waking up time, I don't know what your bedtime is, but with some regularity, that becomes actually very, very easy. The second part of it is, of course, subconsciously, once you have programmed your mind to do a certain thing, waking up before your alarm, also not hard. So you have your subconscious wishes, your body intelligence, if you want to call it that, and of course your biology itself. So combined, it becomes quite easy. When I have regularity in my sleeping pattern, I also wake up pretty much plus minus 5 to 10 minutes before my alarm. It happens a lot. So not too difficult with some regularity, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And since we're talking a little bit about dream journaling, I might give a couple of pieces of information about how I've had success in the past, and maybe it might help people into the future. Or maybe we could save that for the next video. I know we are kind of short on time today. So I would say start small, right? Like pull keywords. I think pulling key, salient, tangible words, and then kind of trying to weave those into a short narrative and go backwards through scenes. Like you'll remember best what's in your immediate proximity. So you'll remember best that last little scene you had while dreaming. And then if you organize that one well, then you can go back to the scene that was before that, and the scene before that, and the scene before that. I've been doing it so long that sometimes if I have a really powerful lucid dream, I'll go back in and document anywhere from 8 to 10 or more scenes in the dream before I even get up and jot down key words, right? So that really coalesces in the brain. But again, take it small. I'd say start with 2 to 3 keywords. 3 is a good number, right? It's the magic number. And don't push yourself too hard. Rudolf Steiner gives a bit of a warning here. He says that actually pulling too much information from the astral realm and the etheric double and that kind of thing, he says that it's not really physically good for you, that like your mind could deviate too far into fantasy if you do that too often. Now, Steiner gives a lot of information on the dreaming mind and the spirit world and stuff. So some of his information I think is pretty dialed in, but some of it may be a little inaccurate to our evolution. Of course, he was living almost 100 years ago, so he wasn't dealing with the same human creature that we are today. But I would advise some caution. People say, hey, isn't that dangerous? Like different types of out-of-body experiences and stuff. And My only caveat there would be,
Yeah.
magic can be dangerous, so to proceed with caution.
Something to add to that is, of course, that throughout the challenge, we will have the Discord, right? So on the Discord, we can have discussions about this. When you say magic can be dangerous, I think when you throw yourself into something and you do it, let's say as a full-time job, well, of course, you know, anything can go too far. You know, if it's whatever practice it is you do. This is, I don't think there is much danger in what we're doing here. This challenge is about a half-hour commitment per day per person. So I think it's not really a problem, you know. Before we finish, do you want to just say something about this, the Ace of Pentacles? And this is for the first day, which is the 22nd of September. So we're looking at that. So this is, could you maybe just explain how this plays a role in the challenge?
I've got the Wheel of Fortune here, which corresponds actually with the Ace of Pentacles on some levels, being that it's a 1 and a 0. So we still have the idea of, right, a 10 is a 1 and a 0. So numerologically, when you condense that, you still get a 1, which represents all of our aces. And it also represents our magicians. So the first card, the card of attention in the major arcana, is the magician. But the Ace of Pentacles in particular and the Wheel of Fortune are both known as a magical talisman. So you see the encircling of a symbol or dynamic glyph. Of course, in the Ace of Pentacles, it's the pentagram, which oftentimes can represent protection, and it could be assaulting too, but it represents man with the head and the arms outstretched, the Diluvian man, I guess, as it were. Also, one thing to keep in mind is that it is a magical talisman, and the Earth one, since we're starting there, it has that idea of the quintessence, or the elixir of immortality, the alchemist gold. It's kind of the pursuit of the great work. You know, it's what all things are meant to be refining towards. I would finish on the note that the both the Wheel of Fortune and the Ace of Pentacles show that cyclical action of change, whether it be the birth of new change and growth in. So for Pentacles, obviously, your returning of physical energy and healing after sickness and this kind of thing. But it also carries with it the advice that we should flow with these patterns and be in tune with the growing energy. So a really good card to start off the challenge with. Very good, very good.
All right, that's excellent. We are going to wrap up a little bit here, and we'll be back quite regularly. We're looking at maybe 2, maybe 3 times a week, at least twice a week, that we are making short videos to support the work. Of course, join the Discord, come there, ask questions, share some of your work. Since some of these things might be a bit private, we're not going to do just YouTube comments about these things, but rather the Discord, which is, well, it's an exclusive thing because you join and we have conversations with like-minded people in that sense. Anyway, a lot to look forward to.
And it also gives you the opportunity to direct message us and speak more privately. And we'll keep the groups open. There are lots of different groups you can participate in. So the Lunar Light Entertainment really is the way to go. And I'd like to remind everyone that Thomas is joining us on this one. And you can check out any mirrored content would be over there at his coffee page at buymeacoffee.com/genius.com. So definitely, if you want to stuff a little something in the tip jar for Thomas, that's the place to do it. And of course, everyone else, everyone knows where I'm at. I'm /Frank Monday. So yeah, thanks again for helping me out with this one again, Thomas. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to all of the learning that we're going to enjoy on this one.